Hi, I'm Roger. I'm a gadget guy and I want to help you get the best out of your home electronics and entertainment stuff. Today, I'm going to talk about TV sound and how to improve it. Now, as TVs have got thinner and thinner over the years, the space for speakers has got less and less, so TV sound has just got worse. This is the first video in a 4-part video series. Today, we're going to talk about connecting any audio system up to a modern smart TV. If the things that I show you in this video don't work perfectly for you first time, then watch my part 2 video where I will go over step-by-step troubleshooting for everything that I show you in this first video. Part 3 of this video series is going to cover audio connections to older TVs, that is TVs that don't have the features that I'm going to talk about today. And part 4 will be step-by-step troubleshooting of those older systems. In this video series, I'm going to show you how to connect any TV up to any audio system. And I mean any audio system. You might have a surround sound system, or a soundbar, or a pair of powered bookshelf speakers, or a lovely old vintage stereo that you don't use much anymore but you can't bear to part with. Or even a pair of computer speakers. The one thing all of these audio systems have in common is they will sound so much better than the regular TV speakers that you'll wonder why you hadn't tried using them before. You don't have to go out and buy anything new and fancy. Even a modest audio system can give dramatic improvement in TV sound. In fact, it's likely that you already have something that can give excellent results. A good setup will do 3 things. Firstly, it's got to work equally well from any video source, whether it's a cable box, an Apple TV box, a DVD, Roku streaming box, or even an antenna. Secondly, it must provide remote control of the volume from your couch, whether or not the original audio system had its own remote control. And thirdly, it's got to be family friendly, so that you don't get a phone call from a loved one while you're at work or out of town saying, I can get picture, but I can't get sound. Before we get down to setting up systems, I'm going to have to get you familiar with the kind of cables and connectors that we need. There are 3 types of interconnect commonly used to connect TVs to audio gear. The one that's right for you will depend on the age and the type of equipment that you have. The latest smart TVs can use an HDMI cable for their audio output connection. This is exactly the same kind of cable that these TVs use for their video inputs. They will have one of their HDMI connectors labeled with the magic letters ARC, sometimes called ARC. If your audio system also supports ARC, or the newer eARC, this is the best system to use because the TV remote will also operate the audio system without reprogramming the remote. And this connection supports all the latest advances in surround sound if you have a compatible receiver. The connection most commonly found on flat screen TVs is the optical connection, which may be labeled optical, Toslink, or SPDIF on your TV. The connector is in the shape of a little house if you look at it end on. Although plugging this cable in is a little fiddly, optical is a very simple and reliable method for stereo audio. It also works for some surround sound formats. RCA connections are very common on older TVs, and some newer TVs still have them. Now that we've shown the 3 different types of connections, let's get to work showing how a complete system goes together. Let's just say you've just brought home one of the latest and smartest of smart TVs. This one here says on the box it has 1 billion intense colors, astonishing detail and clarity, and blazing performance. Nothing on this box says anything about sound quality. So there's no need to worry because connecting an audio system up to this TV is even easier than unpacking and recycling the box and setting up the TV itself. First thing you need to do is determine if your audio system supports ARC. Not all receivers support ARC, but this one does because it has the label ARC on one of its HDMI connectors. Now, any soundbar that has an HDMI connector, not all of them have HDMI, but any soundbar that does have an HDMI connector will be ARC compatible. And this one says it right here on the box. Then you have to find the special ARC socket on your TV and plug in a cable that's long enough to reach your audio gear. If there's something already plugged into that socket, then you need to move it. Whatever it is that's plugged in there will work just fine on one of the other sockets. The audio won't. You then take the other end of the cable that you've plugged into the TV and you plug it into the clearly marked ARC socket. This will also be marked TV output. And then when you power everything up, this may just work exactly as it should. Okay, so now I'm going to power up the system using the TV remote. With a bit of luck, it will all work. So the TV's powered on and the receiver powered on. That's a really good sign. Now let's see if we get sound. Bingo, it's all working. Yay.
Number one, doctor recommended. Number one,
now let's push the mute.
1, 2, 3, 1.
So this is all working just fine. If you have a recent TV and an audio system that supports ARC, and that means either a soundbar with an HDMI connector or a surround sound system that's less than about 10 years old, then you can pause the video right here and go off and try what I've showed you. For the rest of you, the next part of this video is for you. So what do you do if you have an audio system that doesn't even have a remote control? It certainly doesn't have any digital inputs. Well, I have just the thing for you. You can use one of these ARC audio extractors, and I'll put a link to where you can get it in the description of this video. So this is connected up just like this. You connect the power. The other end of the power is a standard USB connector. This can either plug into the back of the TV, into one of the USB connectors on the TV, or if your TV doesn't have an open USB connector, this will just plug into a standard phone charging block. You can then plug in an HDMI connector, and then an audio cable. And this goes white to white. This is a standard RCA audio cable, and red to red. Then you're ready to hook this up to your system. Now, to connect our adapter up to the TV, we take the power USB and we plug that into the USB socket. And this only goes in one way. There we go. And we take the HDMI cable and we plug it into the ARC socket. Again, only the ARC socket will work. The back panels of old 70s receivers are often very simple, and unfortunately that means you don't have many inputs to play with. You may already have a CD player or a music streamer hooked up to the aux input. Even if it's open, you never, ever, ever, that's one never and two evers, use the phono input. The reason for that is if you use it for a TV input or a CD or anything like that, sound will be very loud and distorted. A good input to use is the tape play. So just plug the audio cable from your adapter in, red to red, and white to white, and then you're good to go. So let's try it and see if it all works. On this old receiver, I had to turn it on manually, push the tape button to select the TV input, and set the volume to about halfway. Now, if you're only using it for watching TV, you can just leave these settings the way they are, and use the TV remote and turn the TV on. And let's get some programming. And it just works.
Seek justice for injuries and illness caused by toxic water. You may be entitled.
So the TV mute works, the volume control works, and we've effectively turned this old receiver into a modern digital receiver. If you've tried what I've just shown you, and it didn't work for you first time, the most likely reason is that there are two features on the TV that are often turned off in the TV menus. Those two features are ARC, Audio Return Channel, and CEC, which is Consumer Electronics Control. Now, you can Google how to turn those two features on for your particular brand of TV, or you can watch my part 2 video where I'll go through TV menus, those two features, and step-by-step troubleshooting in much more detail. If your audio system does have its own remote control, but doesn't support HDMI ARC, then the best kind of connection to use is going to be an optical connection. And I'm going to cover that kind of connection in much more detail in the part 3 video when I talk about connections to older TVs. So now you know how to connect a modern smart TV to any audio system, no matter how old or unsophisticated. In part 3, I'll describe in detail how to do the same for an older TV. Some might call them dumb TVs, but most of them still work and look great, and a decent audio system makes them even more enjoyable. If you like this video and found it helpful, then give me a thumbs up. If you want to see future video guides from me, then please click on subscribe and you'll be notified of new videos. If you need to buy any of the cables or adapters that I mentioned today, look under the description and click on the More, and you'll see links to the products that I've covered in this video. If you click on those links and buy through those links, it won't cost you any more, but it will help to support this channel, and I'll be able to buy more devices that I can test and then pass on to you how to get the best out of them. Well, that's all I had for today. Thank you so much for watching.